Me 17 years old. I was like, 17 years old. 17 years old, I was in community college, you know? And so, and you did most of this without a degree, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was you like 16? Or you just like, oh, cybersecurity? Like, did you find that interesting or?
Yeah, I did. I've always had like a passion for tech ever since like the sixth grade. I used to make little websites for like my dad and do little coding projects here and there. And then I did video production and editing in high school. But it wasn't until like my summer of my senior year of high school where I actually got introduced into cybersecurity and just, I don't know, something just clicked. Like the fact that it's always changing, it's always evolving. That's something that was good. Obviously, the money is there too, but just being able to help people, which is one of the things that I've loved to do. I think that's why I just fell in love with cybersecurity and have so much a passion for it. No,
Do you have a degree now?
no, I'm actually currently getting one, but I didn't get a degree for both the tech jobs that I've worked.
Look, you probably have a security plus, maybe even a security clearance, and nobody taught you how to write poems, or how to test a security control, or submit an ATO package. I'm Chris Akpala. A few years ago, I was in your shoes, qualified on paper, but completely lost when it came to RMF. I had the degree, I had the search, I had the drive, and when somebody said how to test the AT2 control or validate stick findings, I had no clue what that actually looked like. Fast forward 5 years, I worked across DoD and federal agencies, led control assessments, written ATO package, and passed orders. That's why I built RMF Academy, to teach you the real world execution they don't cover in certification books. Inside, I'll show you how to write a poem and don't get bashed back. Test and validate security controls, translate tech jargon, navigate NIST 853 and RMF with confidence. If you're in IT supporting the government systems or stuck on the edge of cybersecurity, this is your way. The people who go through my training don't just get hired, they hit the ground running because they practice the work before day one. Go to rmfacademy.io and let's get to work.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Tech Woke Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, an information systems security officer inside the GovTech space. And in today's podcast, it took a year to make this happen. I'm going to be interviewing a young brother that took a different way to get into tech. He did it at a young age. He has inspired a lot of people. And you didn't have to do it the traditional way. You didn't have to go to the NBA, rap, or anything. This young man tapped in at a young age to get into cybersecurity. He's been a speaker, speaks at GovTechCon and various conferences. He's doing various podcasts. He works in the incident response kind of lane with Splunk and all these incident response too. But without further ado, Dominic Alegrete, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, brother. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so again, it was great having you. It was great meeting you over a long period of time. I met you at GovTechCon last year, and I met you at GovTechCon last year. We was able to build a relationship. I think you built a relationship off of TikTok, just saying, hey, you're actually a real person. You know, just seeing you're real. And then I was just asking you some questions. I was like, so like, how did you get into tech? When you get into tech, when you told me 17 years old, I was like, 17 years old? 17 years old, I was in community college, you know? And so, and you did most of this without a degree, correct?
Yes, sir. Without a
Do you
degree.
have a degree now?
No, I'm actually currently getting one, but I didn't get a degree for both the tech jobs that I've worked.
Oh, okay. So we're going to dive into that. So tell me about your early journey and who mentored you to kind of get you into space, and why do you think they mentored you at a young age?
Yeah, so the person that mentored me, I was able to meet him through my dad, and he pretty much just told me about what cybersecurity was, because I feel like before that we just think from the movies it's just someone behind a computer hacking or just in a black hoodie. And, you know, he just showed me the ropes. He told me what cybersecurity was, the different types of niches, and then also what you can, you know, use it as if you actually take it serious. So that's what kind of hooked me and got me into it. And I think the reason why he wanted to mentor me, because I think he saw that I was very disciplined and committed. And, you know, I'm someone that's always trying to like get better. I call it like a, you know, like a junkie in that type of sense. And I just think that he just saw that drive and that passion that he had at that age. And I think that's probably why he decided to mentor me.
Yeah, and I love that. For you at a young age, you're hearing about this. How did you take it? I mean, was you like 16? Or you just like, oh, cybersecurity? Like, did you find that interesting or?
Yeah, I did. I've always had like a passion for tech ever since like the sixth grade. I used to make little websites for like my dad and do little coding projects here and there. And then I did video production and editing in high school. But it wasn't until like my summer of my senior year of high school where I actually got introduced into cybersecurity and just, I don't know, something just clicked. Like the fact that it's always changing. It's always evolving. That's something that was good. Obviously, the money is there too, but just being able to help people, which is one of the things that I've loved to do. I think that's why I just fell in love with cybersecurity and have so much a passion for it.
Okay, so like, break this down to the audience. As he's mentoring you, like, what specifically is he teaching you?
Yeah, so he had an internship program. It's now called Cybersecurity, but back then it used to be called the CyberX Elite. And pretty much it was like a more defensive side cybersecurity internship. So specialized in cyber threat intelligence. We would do weekly meetings and we're going through reports. He's given us access to professionals within the industry, and then we're also working on our resumes and interview skills. So those are some of the things that he was teaching us.
Yeah, and then I know he probably introduced you to the security plus cert. Did he introduce you to certs also?
Yeah, a little bit. He told me about, different certs, but I didn't get the Security Plus till about maybe a year into my first IT role. But yeah, he definitely mentioned those.
So you just want to make sure you had a fundamental understanding on what things were going on in the space.
Yes, for sure. So, writing reports, going onto websites like Cybercrime Magazine, Beeping Computer, understanding like the threat landscape and how to understand what these attacks are doing, different frameworks like cyber kill chain, MITRE attack, those type of things. So we definitely, helped me build those fundamentals, and I'm grateful for it because I still use all those things to this day.
And you feel like even with learning at the fundamental level, does it help you like in your career, like researching and understanding those things?
Oh yeah, for sure. Whether it's like ports, whether it's me having to do some Google search, I feel like it's definitely helped me in my role as well, especially when I'm writing, because I do a lot of tickets being in the SOC, and because I did so many reports when I started, I just been able to take that mindset and those techniques that I did and be able to apply it to my tickets. And my bosses, they love the tickets that I do, and they always say that they're very thorough. So it's definitely helped me.
Okay, so you did that. You got your cert like a year later. What was your first cert?
Security Plus.
So when a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, mentor, coach, everything. Can you explain why Security Plus is probably the best basic cert you should get?
Yeah, I think it's just a great foundational cert because it goes over all the things within cybersecurity from, a little bit of the offensive side, different access controls, different types of malware, and all the things you need to know to have a basic fundamental understanding from there. And then obviously it's very big in the government tech space. I know it's one of our, main social media had to be DoD 8570 or 8140 compliant. So it's definitely a good cert time.
Okay, so you get your Security Plus, right? When you got your Security Plus, what did you do after? Did you continue learning the skills, or did you get your first job?
Yeah, so once I got the Security Plus, I was already in help desk, and I continued to, balance my help desk with my internship. And then from there, since I already knew the fundamentals, it was now time to just actually start learning the necessary tools that I know I would be using for the job that I wanted, which was a SOC analyst. So that's where I started taking courses on Splunk, a little bit of the cloud and Azure, and just really understanding these tools. So then when I get into these interviews, I can then speak to them and say, hey, I'm at least doing as much as I can to learn. Now I just need the job to, progress.
So for a SOC analyst role, right? It's an incident response role, right? Can you kind of break down like what does SOC mean? Like what is incident response? Can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah, so SOC stands for Security Operations Center. I like to think that we're like the first line of defense. We're doing 24/7 monitoring of the network, and we're pretty much just making sure the different events and actions that are happening throughout keeping the network are supposed to be happening. And we're looking through different tools, whether that's like a Splunk, whether that's in the cloud, like AWS or Azure, and we're just making sure that the network is where it needs to be. And if there's any issues, then we'll do our analysis, write it up, and then send it to the proper team, and then the incident response team will then be the people that actually respond to that various incident, whether it's maybe somebody clicked them in phishing link or malware got infiltrated into the network. That's then the incident response team to be able to take those access controls and that incident response plan and be able to resolve those issues.
Okay, so you're okay. Is an is a SOC analyst? Is it like a role that's like at night or is it in the daytime?
It varies. At my job, personally, there's rotating shifts. So I do 410s, so 4 days a week. I do 10-hour shifts, and I chose the morning shift. It's 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. where I'm at. I love it. I'm a morning person, and I feel like it still allows me to be productive, and I don't mind the hours, especially since I get an extra off day during the week.
So like, what is the finding of an incident? I was listening to some people; they can see anything come through, but it's rare. Is rare that you even have incidents in the job. Is that true, or do you go through that a lot?
Uh, a good amount. I think a lot of the activity is like benign, but there are those like incidents in the case where somebody may be running a PowerShell script, or there may be a penetration test going on, and we see them doing activity with specific hacking tools. So in those times, that's where those incidents do come up. But they do come up not often, but if they do, we'll be able to try to mitigate it as best as we can and send it to the proper team.
Oh, okay. So how do people hack a system? Like, and they're trying to hack into your employees' network. Like, what are some of the things that are the most common things you see in these things?
Definitely like different PowerShell scripts, or you see them trying to connect to different ports like SSH and remoting in and different things like that. Or it can just be something as simple as maybe a person that's part of an admin group is adding multiple users that you never see before in the network, or some guest user got added by somebody and that guest user hasn't been verified, or even just something as simple as maybe a server is connecting to a malicious IP address, and you have to be able to figure out if that IP address is actually malicious or not, or those actions are malicious in that sense.
So is whaling or spear phishing, is that or phishing, is that a common thing in space?
Yeah, it's definitely a common thing. I believe like 90% of attacks are phishing. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but um, yeah, phishing is definitely a case. I always see it when I'm working in the cloud because I work for NSSP, so we provide security services for other companies. So I get to be in different environments, and Azure, I always see like, oh, this person would see the email, it's been blocked because due to phishing, whatever it is. But it's definitely true. I haven't seen too much on whaling. They do try to impersonate the CEO sometimes, and like I'll see it in my mailbox, and I'm like, I know you're not gonna pitch me out of randomness. Yeah, it's definitely there for sure.
No, I love to hear that because SOC is a world that I keep hearing. Like what are the requirements to do SOC? You kind of touched on it. I know you got to know some Red Hat, right? You got to know some like what tools you got to know to be in a SOC.
Yeah, I would say the biggest tools you need to learn are one, a SIM, so security information event management. That's pretty much a tool that's going to look at the different events that are happening on your network. So anything from you clicking on a link, you sending an email message to somebody, is looking at those things. EDR, which is endpoint detection and response. So that's a tool that's going to be able to detect and respond to any like malicious activity on an individual endpoint within the network. And that endpoint could be anything from like a printer, a phone, a computer. I know specific ones are like CrowdStrike, Sentinel-1, Carbon Black, and then I know for SIM it's like Splunk, Elastic, Datadog, and a few others. And then I always say like a good ticketing system, whether that's like ServiceNow, Jira. I know there's like a new AI one called Torque.
It's a new one.
Yeah, TORQ. So definitely with that too. So those are probably some of the main tools that I use. And then you then have like your OSINT tools like VirusTotal and that to be able to search up the findings that you're getting within that ticket.
So when you mean by tickets, what are you talking about? Are you talking about sometimes it's an incident, somebody sends you a ticket that, hey, you might want to look into it? So can you break that down a little bit?
Yeah, pretty much just like alerts. So at my job, we use a ticketing system called Jira, and pretty much depending on the specific client, that alert may get put into Jira, and then from there, we're then doing our analysis, which is individually the ticket, and we're pretty much explaining what we saw, what happened, and then giving them our findings. So that's kind of how it is.
Oh, I understand. That's interesting. So, it sounds like a kind of unique role. Like, what do you do to also prepare for yourself to do the job? I know I know you learn on the go. Sometimes you don't want to learn on the go. Do you have like a lab at home where you learn it?
Yeah, the main tools that I use are like Splunk and Elastic. So I try to have home labs for those and just practice a lot of like my querying and searching, because I found that being in the SOC, you're not gonna know everything, but the biggest thing when you are collecting your findings is time. So being able to like narrow your searches down and get better at doing that, so then you're not wasting as many resources and time while you're doing it.
No, I understand. So say if somebody's trying to get into the SOC role, I know and you had your saying when you was out of a job for a while and when you got a job. What thing did you do? What did you do to get a job again, or how did you get back in that role? And then how would you tell other people to kind of get a role in the SOC role?
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing that helped me land my role was building my personal brand. Like, yes, I had the fundamentals and I took the time to get the certs and knowledge, but my personal brand is really what allowed me to get in front of these different recruiters because I like to say your resume only says so much. So if you can build your own personal brand and just tell your own story, I can maybe make you stand out from other candidates per se. So that's what's allowed me to get to the role that I'm at. And I would say for those that are trying to get a role in the SOC, definitely master the fundamentals. So networking, that's going to come up a lot. Understanding how devices communicate to each other, different types of IP addresses and, their classes, public IP versus private, switches, stuff like that, ports. So, understanding the networking aspect of it because you'll be able to see that when you're looking at the different logs in whatever environment that it is that you're in. And then I would say the biggest thing is just getting hands on. Yes, it's cool to understand the fundamentals and know what a SOC is and know this type of thing, but you have to get hands on and show these employers that, hey, I know what it is that I'm talking about. For me, I would do, labs from Splunk. I would go on Udemy and just go through these different courses and really take my time and try to master each element when it came to the specific tools that I was working on.
Understood. So you would tell somebody also to get like a VMware and kind of just lab it up. But labs would be expensive, man. It's like some labs would be $1,000. I think that's a new expensive hobby people got now.
Yeah, some of it is, but I think there's other like free platforms that you can use that are affordable. TryHackMe is one, and then another one called Let's Defend.io. That one's like exactly like TryHackMe, but it's more geared towards the defensive side. So you can be the SOC analyst, you could be the incident response, and they give you kind of your own environment, so you don't have to then necessarily buy the necessary resources for it. So there's definitely affordable options out there, and then Udemy they have discounts as well. So you just got to be a hawk with it.
Yeah, trust me. You did me. I bought this RMF course on there for like $19 just to kind of learn. But you gotta catch it. You ain't gonna course like $100, $200. So you just gotta be a whole. I know you on that. So
Yeah, definitely. Because some of those courses, like, they're good, but like, it's not worth no $90. I'm keeping it real.
Yeah. So when it comes to building a personal brand, I've been telling people that a lot. Like for me, I built my personal brand over the last 2 years. So like even when I go to these conferences, a lot of employers know me. People kind of want to talk and understand like what I know in cyber. And like you said, they reach out to you on LinkedIn at some point. Can you tell them? Can you kind of dive into the importance of that? Like, when when you got your new job, somebody was just on you on like TikTok or like LinkedIn. There's like I know you got a big following, like 10,000. We got 10,000 on LinkedIn now.
16 winning.
Well, you just no, just subtly 16,000.
Yeah.
16 my whole world. Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I could attest to it. Every role that I've gotten has been because of LinkedIn. Literally, the job that I'm at now, the recruiter reached out to me and said, "Hey, I think you'd be a good fit because I see your posts and I see the consistent work that you put it in." But like I said before, your personal brand is definitely important. And what makes tech so cool is that like everybody's journey is different. So what's unique to you is what's unique to you. And I feel like if you're able to touch on those things and be positive and just be yourself, it can open up so many doors for you.
Yeah, like it can. So you just got to that's the market we're going in. If you don't build your personal brand, you don't got no job going for it. So I love to hear that. Can you talk about like being a young guy inside your field? Do you feel like how is that experience like? I mean, are you working with older people, younger people?
Older, I've been the youngest on all the teams that I've been on. I think at the beginning there was a little bit of imposter syndrome because I'm thinking like, hey, why am I not at the level that they're at, or why am I not here? But my dad always tells me don't compare your 20 to somebody else's 30, and that senior analyst started as an intern, so there's just levels to it, and you just have to continue to work and continue to put in the time, and you'll be able to get there. But I've enjoyed my time being in the industry. I haven't really seen too many like gatekeepers in my own network, and I've kind of had positive interactions with all the teams that I've been a part of.
You feel like a lot of people just gravitate to you because they just want to help you or push you to the next level?
I think it's a little bit of that, and then I think it's just because I just try to be my own self. I don't try to front. I don't try to do things that I know that I'm not doing, and I just try to be relatable and positive, and I try to stay away from the negativity. And I feel like because I'm very driven and consistent, they see that and they respect it, and they just want to be able to gravitate towards that because they see that I'm doing something positive, not just for myself but for others.
Yeah, like you with me, I seen you and I just talked to you and I'm just like, whatever you need, I would literally do anything to help you because I seen you killing it. You put in the work, to be such a young person. And you know how people be like Gen Z this or Gen Z that. I'm like Gen Z is the most creative. At this point, Gen Z is the most creative. Y'all know social media. Y'all in touch with conversation, inside how you feel, how what you don't like. Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, y'all tell you how y'all feel. So I love your generation just because of that, and that's a good thing.
For sure. I think they forget that like there's certain Gen Zs that are like older Gen Zs.
Yeah.
I'm 2004. So like I've been around, the millennials and Gen X's and just always growing up around older people. So because of that, I've always had to just, sit back, be quiet and just observe. And that's kind of how that's trickled down into, my career and how I interact with people.
Yeah, because you interact with a lot of people. I see you at GovTechCon today. You literally just moving in. Like, you know everybody, literally. Simone, Ace, Benode. And you just walking around behind the scenes like you had a CEO of that. But you've done the work to be in that position. How do you feel with your peers if peers come to you and they're like, I want to do what you're doing? How do you navigate that?
It's funny because I think I'm around so many older people. I don't get a chance to like be around, people more towards like my age. But when I do get a chance to be around them, I feel great. I feel, heartfelt, and I just want to be able to try to help them as much as I can. And I feel like because they know that I'm that young age, I'm relatable, but then I'm also coming at them, real. Then I feel like they're able to, gravitate towards that, and they want to be helped and want to be, mentored in whatever type of way that I can.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear that. So back to the sock roll. What is like kind of like the level up in that? Is this like you just be sock or sock two or like how do you level up as a sock analyst?
Yeah, there's different levels. So there's SOC 1, level 1, and then level 2, level 3. And then I believe it's like a senior SOC analyst and then like a SOC, manager. So I think the various levels depend on like what type of tickets or alerts you may get. And you may just get, more of the workload or just even projects depending on what that's, does. I luckily, the boss that I have, he's very like, I get to ask him questions and talk to him all the time. So he kind of tells me what he does throughout his day when it comes to managing everybody on the team. But yeah, that's kind of the levels, and I think it just depends on the company that you're at.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Dominic, I know you're navigating the space currently. I know you did the SOC analyst, and I know you're leveling up. But what is some help you can give to people that's trying to get in there? They're trying to get in your shoes. What would you tell them to get into cybersecurity?
First, I would say figure out like your why and the reason why you want to get into cybersecurity. Like some people do it because they love it. Some people do it, frankly, for the money, and that's okay. But if you are doing it for the money, you may not be fulfilled towards the end when you are, in those high-paying jobs. So definitely figure out why you want to get into this space. And then if I could say one tip or another one would be find a mentor as early as possible. I can attest to this. Every mentor that I've had has, given me confidence, has, helped me grow, and has helped me, it's still belief in me. And I think if you find the right mentor, they can do the same for you. And when it comes to finding these mentors, I definitely say there's two things that you need to look for. One, make sure they hold you accountable and, they're getting on you and, making sure you don't slack. And then two, make sure that the person that you're trying to that you're trying to get to be your mentor has been in the shoes that you're trying to get into or gone to the place that you're trying to go, right? For example, like Kobe Bryant wanted to be the best basketball player in the NBA. He's not going to go learn from the janitor, right? I'm not saying no disrespect to the janitor. I'm not saying he can't learn anything. Maybe he can, you never know. But you want to surround yourself with people that are in the shoes you're trying to get into. And that's why he had the mentors he did, like Bill Russell, Jerry West, Michael Jordan, those type of people. And, I feel like if you're able to look for the right one, it can definitely help change your trajectory. And then lastly, just to leave on a note, another point on how to find these mentors, because I know it can be a little bit difficult. My best bet has been on LinkedIn, and then also just networking at conferences. And I always say, do what others aren't willing to do. That may mean go on LinkedIn and send messages to people. That may mean offering your services to them. And it doesn't necessarily mean like giving them money, but like if they need, content done or they need some support in some type of way, offer that to them because you need to be mindful of their time because they're taking time out their day to help you. Or if you're at a conference, just like how we were at TechCon, speak up, after a panel or ask a question. I can remember just a quick story when I found one of my first mentors. I went to a city, a little small event in my city called Cody in the Hood, and there was a bunch of panelists. My dad had took me, shout out Pops, and I was a little scared. I was only 17 at the time. After the panel was done, I just went up and just said, "Hey, would anybody want to be my mentor? I'm very driven and passionate." And one of the men on the panel, his name is Jeff Ivory. Shout out Jeff. He offered his mentorship to me. And, I still speak to him to this day, but it's things like that that you have to do and get outside that comfort zone to find his mentor. So that's about not one piece of advice is find a mentor as early as you can.
Yeah, just like even on LinkedIn, I get like hundreds of people literally, hey, mentor me, hey, do this. And to be honest with you, I don't mind helping nobody. I would in the beginning. I just used to mentor every little person I can do. My only issue is it's like they want this, it stacks on. So the people I'm generally interested in mentoring is the people that have already done the work. Is that how you feel too? Or done some work? Or you just want to just go into helping everybody? Or
I want to help as many people as I can, but I at least want them to, have a plan and not come to me with just nothing. So, having an understanding, hey, I want to get into this. Hey, I'm currently taking this course and trying to get this certification. Just show me something that lets me know that, like, okay, you're actively working towards getting better and actually landing that role instead.
do you feel like picking your role is probably the best thing you should do? Like picking your role before you begin this opera?
I think it's one of the best things you can do because cybersecurity is so diverse, right? There's red team, there's blue team, there's purple team. You got see all these things. So I understand that the first choice you may choose may not be the last, but you should at least understand what specialty that you want to actually like dive into. So that's definitely important.
Yeah, because I would say that for me, it's like I didn't know what I wanted to do. My friend just told me ISO. Yeah. I was like, let me go do it. And I got a job in 2 months versus a year. So, and the same thing with you. Like you said, IT, you just like, I would just do the help desk. And then it ran out, right? Or
Actually, I think like everybody would be a pen tester.
yeah, that's something. You got to be a SME to even get to that level.
Yeah, and I don't know like coding, so like I knew that wasn't gonna work out, but I always heard like help desk was a good entry point, and a lot of people have done it. I think it gets a bad rap sometimes, and people try to like look over it or like sun it innocent. So I did the help desk, and then over time, just doing research, I just fell in love with just the defensive side of cybersecurity and being able to stop those things. But if you are someone that is looking for your niche, I definitely recommend just watching day in the life videos. Reaching out to people on LinkedIn. So if you want to be a pen tester, go reach out to somebody that is a penetration tester, trying to build a relationship with them and just ask them like, hey, what does your day-to-day look like? They're more likely to respond because you're not some hungry job seeker. So I think those are some of the things that you could do for sure.
I love that, bro. So, yeah, this is some good advice. And then also, too, like with networking, where's the best place to network? Again, personal brand is big, but you got to network with actual people. Like even me, I do this podcast. I came to GovTechCon, and I'm seeing all these actual people, and it's like, it makes me awkward, too. So, is it best to do it on LinkedIn or best to go in person? And how would you find these networking avenues?
Yeah, I think there's like layers to it. So at first I would start just on LinkedIn, just connecting with people because in the beginning you're building your profile, you're trying to make sure that it's optimized. So, just connecting with people you don't often necessarily in the beginning like send them messages, but over time start to build your connection and then start, doing your posts and reaching out to other people and, commenting on other people's pages, reaching out to, recruiters so you can actually build that camaraderie with them. And then from there, once you gain a little bit of experience, once you gain a little bit more confidence, then you can start going to different conferences. I always recommend start small. It's going to be, your local tech events, unless you're like in Alaska or some place where there's not really anything. There's going to be something related to tech that you can go to and just start to, meet on network a little bit. And then when you get more experience and again, when you get more confidence, then you start going out to these bigger platforms and these bigger conferences like, your GovTech cons or your Afrotechs, test gatings, things, of that nature.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Just start small. Because a lot of people just go into a GovTechCon or Acrotech, shout out to GovTechCon, or you go to these conferences and you're thinking, oh, my life's about to be changed. You got to kind of do a little bit of work before you even get there. Just to even know some of the speakers. Like, hey, just build a relationship with the speakers before you even get there. I was just on a panel with you. It was a panel today I was listening to, and they were talking about just talking. Just one lady said that somebody forced them to be a mentor. And then the guy ended up getting a job later on. So I get what you're coming on that portion.
Yeah, I always say just come prepared, come to your research. You can't really expect maybe have no experience to go to a conference and get a job. It's just not where the environment is nowadays. But you definitely have to put in, some type of work and at least just show people that, hey, I'm willing to be driven and put this work in to get better. So that definitely needs to happen.
Yeah, and conferences is investment in yourself too, just to kind of put you in your bones. Because after a while, it's like even me being tech space, seeing y'all, it's normal. It's like to the point where it's like I've seen y'all so many events, it's like it's normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this wasn't it, this wasn't it. Then I'm starting to see the new creators coming out, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get up out of here soon. Like, yeah, this just seeing all that, this is just very interesting. Do you think with Gen Z, people talk about Gen Z a lot too? Do you think Gen Z are the people that still want to work, or from your opinion, from just like dealing with your different people, do you think they want to work, or do they think they want to kind of create more innovation in cybersecurity currently?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think sometimes social media gives cybersecurity like a bad rap, where they think like, oh, I could just make all this money right away, or they see the car, they see the jewelry, and they think, oh, cybersecurity is just like this. And then when they get in there, it's like it's a whole other ball game. But there are the people that are young, that are in Gen Z, that do want to be innovative and creative, and are coming up with these necessary AI tools. They're just coming up with different like groups to help other people. So I definitely think it's like a mixture of both.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I'm more on the creative side. I love dealing with younger people and different because I learned a lot from there. Shout out to Leslie. I learned so much from Leslie. This young brother, Leslie Mariba, he just gives me a lot of information. I just be sitting there and he just be like sending me all this stuff. So I do like what y'all doing, innovation. So yeah, y'all, this is y'all's face in probably the next 5 to 10 years. And how does it feel for you? You've been in the States 5 years?
Forward, it's 2026, 2021.
4 years. So about the next 4 or 5 years, you're gonna basically be a master at like 30. How does that? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I do think about it from time to time. I can't wait to, get to that age, but I'm just someone that just loves the process of getting better. So I don't really get fixated on like the end goal. And I just love, working hard and being able to just learn different things. So I think it's definitely going to be something to see when I get to that age.
So like, what do you want to do going forward? Like, what is your main goals?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. My main goals is I'm 21 years old right now. I want to become financially free by 25 years old. That's my main goal, and be able to also help as many people as I can. And I like to say this thing. I want to my main goal. Another one is try to at least help that 5,000 kids really become the youngest in charge for their families and set their families up for success to win.
I love that. And what motivates you? It's God, family.
Things, a lot of things. One, I just want to become the best version of myself. I want to be able to look back, when I retired, I'm not working anymore, say that I gave it all, that I had. And then I'd say the second thing is just, for my family, I want to be able to give them a different life that they, didn't get a chance to experience. My family's been impacted by the war of drugs as well as incarceration system. My dad went to prison along with some of my uncles and aunts and things of that nature. So I just want to be able to give them the life that they didn't have because they came from broken homes and, were forced to grow up earlier in their lives. So I just want to be able to take care of them as, much as they can because they poured so much into me. And, I just want to be able to get back to them.
Yeah, I actually like Bill got into tears, man. Because it's like the thing about being in this space, a lot of people just talk about the money. Of course you can get the money. And to be honest with you, I haven't got that vibe that you trying to get the money. You just want to use it to help other people. A lot of people don't say that. A lot of people like, I want to go on a yacht. Or, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So I love that how you broke that down to help everybody. So yeah, because even me, the main reason I started this podcast was to help people. Like even going to GovTechCon, I'm seeing that we overall have reached out to people in Nebraska, LA, or just random places, and it's just like crazy. All this, it's crazy what a camera can do. And speaking your journey, is crazy how that can do. Is there anything you want to lead for somebody that's trying to get into cybersecurity? Anybody, young, old, anything indifferent? What would you give them?
Yeah, I would say the biggest piece of advice I would give to somebody that is trying to get into cybersecurity is, like I mentioned before, find a mentor. But I think, figure out what you want your legacy will be. I think that's, something that doesn't get talked about enough. Like, what do you want to be, remembered for. And for me, I want to be known as that person that made the right sacrifices early on, but then also put others and his family in, positions to win.
I know that. So this is what I usually ask people that are coming on the podcast, people that's familiar. I'm always going to ask you, so what is your goals for the next 5 years? What is it? What do you want to do in the next 5 years?
Yeah, for sure. I'll be honest. I don't want to try to sound cocky or anything, but like in the next 5 years, I see myself like, working remote on like an island somewhere, whether that be like the Maldives or Bali or something like that. And, I don't know what work I'll be doing, whether that's like, government tech, big tech, or whatever that may be. I know one thing's for sure, I will be working remote in cybersecurity, and, I will be, financially free. And if you don't mind, I would love to share like that plan and also, how others could get there too. Yeah, so as far as that, that plan goes, it definitely works if you, aren't making six figures. It'll just take a little bit longer. But, the first thing you would need to do is obviously get your six-figure tech role. I know the average salary and for a cybersecurity job is about like 132,000, give or take, depending on the city. Also, there's, different roles, right? You have your senior level, mid-level, entry-level type of roles. So, it kind of varies depending on that. But that lets you know that at some point, being in cybersecurity, you will make six figures. So make sure you take the necessary time to get your hands on experience, the right certs, network the right way, and you'll have that role. And then from there, what we're gonna do is take that 100K and cut it in half, and pretty much take that 50K and invest it. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you how to invest in the stock market or anything, but just invest it in blue chip stocks or companies that you know are going to be around for the next 20 to 30 years. So it's going to take some research to do, whether that's like your Nvidias, your Apples, your Amazons. And, let's do the math. 50, times 5 over the next 5 years, that's 250,000. And your money's most likely going to double or triple. And that's just your investment money. That's not, your actual six-figure job. And you're going to get more experience. You're going to get more search. You're going to, put more time in. So that means you're probably going to double your salary when it comes to that. So, after hearing that, you don't think that's financial freedom? Like, to me, I think that is. And then that other 50K, that's what you're just going to live off of, whether that's, your rent, your utilities, different things like that. And, I don't want to sit here and, hear people say, oh, that's not possible. I can't live off 50K. Yes, you can. You did it before when you were making less. I personally, know grown men that are taking care of kids right now that make less than 50K. It's doable. And, this plan that I mentioned is simple, but it takes ultimate discipline, ultimate sacrifice, and you have to be willing to, live beneath your means for the time being. So that may mean moving back in with your parents, go getting a roommate, or even getting the least expensive apartment as you can. But if you're willing to, be great, you want to, put your family in places to win, and you really want to become the youngest in charge, you have to live beneath your means to be willing to make those sacrifices. But that's the plan. That's how I'm going to get there, and that's how you can too. And I want people to hold me accountable, because if I'm at 25 and I'm not financially free yet, I want you to, let me hear about it. But that's the plan for sure.
Yeah, you picked the right person. I'm definitely going to be like, hey, what's up, man? You still say that money? You picked the wrong person, but that's a great goal. I think your accomplishment, you have the discipline, you're around the right people to double that. And like you said, getting that six-figure job, there's people, I was living on 40K at one point. I was actually living pretty good. To be honest with you, the more money you make, the more you spend. So you can do it. Even me, I kind of compliment. I talked to my mom the other day. I was like, listen, I just need 1 year to save some money to buy a house and pay off these student loans. I'll sleep in the basement. I'll contribute to the house the best way I can, fixing up stuff. I just need 1 year. And I'm really contemplating it at this point. So I respect that, man. You're going to do what you're going to do. And if you say it, and like you said, you proclaimed it. Yeah, so speak it, believe it, see it. So I love that. So can you lead the audience with one quote? One quote you want to lead the audience with? It could be a quote, statement. Is this something that you want to lead the audience with to grow over time?
Yeah, I might have it in on my phone because I don't want to butcher the quote because I haven't heard it in a long time. But it's a quote by Muhammad Ali, and it's the service to others is the rent you paid for your room here on earth. So I think just, having that green heart to get back to others is what's going to help the world move forward and leave it in a better place, because at the end of the day, the main goal is to, leave the things that we have better than what we found it.
Now I agree with you. Like, even, all this service when we're doing, giving this knowledge back in cybersecurity, be honest with you, that's what the main thing that keeps me to keep going with the podcast and going through life It's because I know at the end of the day, as long as I keep doing what God wants me to do, I'm always going to be blessed. The more people I help, knowingly and unknowingly, that's the whole purpose of this. And I continue to do this as long as possible, just off of that. You know, you got to keep serving people. Serve until you can't no. Like literally till you can't no more.
Yeah, that's definitely the play for sure.
Yeah, man. So Dominic, I appreciate you coming on this podcast. It was very happy.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for allowing me to share my story. And
Yeah.
that was one for popcorn.
Yeah, you can always come back. Anytime you want to come back, have a story, you can always come on this podcast. We do a once a year thing, but it's good. I can't wait to see you over the years and how you grow and you getting your financial plan. So thank you again.
For sure. And then before we go, I did have like a little bit for you. That's cool.
Oh, you got it? I got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, man, I prepared today.
what do you got? You
It's just a little merch, but a little, some ass beans
I'm gonna
kind
wear it. I'm gonna wear it.
Yeah.
Check out Dom's merch. Where can you find this merch?
It's like a prototype now, but I'm just giving it out as samples at the conference.
Okay. Well, you gotta get a website, man, so we can go buy it and support you now.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's in the works for sure.
Yeah. Where can the audience find you?
Yeah, I'm on all platforms. So for LinkedIn, it's Dominic Alegrete, DOMINIC ALEGRETE. And then on Instagram and TikTok, I go by Dom, the Cyber Genius. So DOM, and then Cyber the Genius. So that's kind of where I'm at. And then I also put out a once a month newsletter where I just give people access to my journey and a month by month update on what I'm doing, and then also cybersecurity tips and health and wellness tips and just ways that I'm trying to be successful and level myself up. So that's where you can find me.
Thank you, Dom. A lot of guests come on and they usually don't give gifts, and I'm just going to cherish it. I'm going to put it somewhere safe, and I'm definitely going to wear it at some point. So I really appreciate you.
No problem, man. Thank you so much.
For the audience that's watching, remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below, share the video, check out techwokepodcast.com. Also go on rmfacademy.io, check out the course. And remember, everybody, get 1% better every day. Peace out. I'll see you on the next one.